to hang down in the actual turn. And of course, as you approach the corner, you're shifting down through the gears too, so that you'll be in exactly the right gear to leave the corner. Now you're into the turn, and maybe your knee is scraping on the ground. But then as you go through the turn, you want to get the power on as soon as possible. And this probably means shifting gears as you're leaving the turn and straightening up and getting back onto the center of the bike again. If this turn is immediately followed by another in the other direction, you have to start it all over again, now climbing off the bike on the other side. In a race, you're doing all this, braking with your right hand and right foot, operating the clutch with your left hand, changing gear with your left foot, as you're leaning over, climbing out of the saddle, straightening up, steering the bike, and all the time the other guys are trying to get past you. It demands tremendous concentration.
That is the thing that I believe I've worked on more than anything else, is my ability to concentrate the entire length of the race, because that really determines my ability to run a pace. And I like to not vary over a second from start to finish. A lot of times you'll see a rider, or for that matter, any type motorsports person, they'll get out in the lead, but they can't really maintain that rhythm, that pace, unless they're being pressured.
If all this sounds dangerous, then you're right, it is dangerous. Getting that close to the road at speeds of up to 150 miles an hour means that the clothing the rider wears is of crucial importance. The only kind of support the riders wear is a back support, which shows the kind of strain that's put on them as they heave some 300 pounds of rubber, metal and fuel around. Although the riders' suits have great decorative value, they're totally functional. The style and fit of the suit combine so that the rider is totally free to move, but he is as aerodynamic as possible. Because on a racing motorcycle, the rider himself is a part of the aerodynamics. Many materials have been tried for these suits. In an age of plastics, you'd think a synthetic material would be best. But so far, nothing has beaten leather. Because the suit not only has to protect the rider if he's unlucky enough to come off the bike, but it also has to breathe. You can imagine how you'd feel zipped up in an airtight suit for an hour's hard work when the temperature inside it can reach 130 degrees. Since these racing bikes produce a sound level of 105 decibels when running at speed, all riders wear earplugs. And no racing motorcyclist would ride without gloves or without protection on his knees. The helmet is also crucial to the rider's safety, and again, his aerodynamics. The latest helmets are of synthetic materials, an energy-absorbing styrofoam liner surrounded by a tough fiberglass and epoxy laminate shell.
This will be the first Formula One practice of the afternoon. Last call, Formula One practice. Made to be mosey on up to the...
Qualifying or practice sessions are usually misunderstood. Meticulous records must be kept, because practice is not like a javelin thrower practicing his throw. It's more like trying different javelins. Most of the riders know the tracks like the back of their hand, so what they're doing is concentrating on 4 areas. Getting the right tires for the particular track and working them up to the correct temperature. Making sure the carburetor is set right with the right fuel-air mix for this track and its atmospheric conditions. Getting the right gearing. This is the relationship between the engine speed and the road speed of the bike. The bikes have 6-speed transmissions and 4 variations for each gear. That's 144 possibilities without even touching the overall gearing.
We'd like to remind you also that...
Last but not least, we've got to get the bike to handle right. This is not like a street bike where the factory gives you a good average setting for the springs and dampers. These bikes are fine-tuned for every individual track and rider. What was right for last week's track may be too hard or too soft for this week. And a big part of the rider's skill is in knowing what changes will make his bike handle better. Having set the bike up to his satisfaction, the rider's main concern is now his own performance.
For myself, I enjoy being in front. In my younger years, for example, 10 through 12, 13 years old, there were times when I'd be leading a race, a dirt track race, and just slide down or something where you just lose concentration because you're not being pressured. And it's easy to do that. We call it relaxing. And of course, you can't afford to do that in road racing because of the speeds and different things. And that's something I've really worked on is to get in front and keep the rhythm and pace going.
Rhythm, pace, and superb control are qualities shared in varying degrees by all the front runners in motorcycle racing. Okay, so now you know just why the bikes are as quick as they are. Let's remind you how they compare with other high-speed transportation.